So the purpose of this evening is to explain the course selection process of the girls as they move into year 11 and 12, and for me just to give you a really brief outline of some of the pastoral matters that we cover. But firstly, I would like to introduce the key staff from the Careers Department who are working closely with the Year 10s during the subject selection process. So we have Mrs. Marianne Hughes, Head of Careers and Vet, Mr. Nick Kaskanides, Career Development Coordinator, and Miss Lena Martin, Career Teacher. To date, the girls have attended the Career Expo at the Convention Centre and spent a career day at Santa looking at course pathways for Year 11 and 12 subjects and possible careers, and also, more importantly, listening to past students talk about why they chose either an ATAR or an Access pathway, and hearing about their career journeys and what they have learned from their education. So I'm going to touch briefly on three important aspects for Year 10s. So firstly, examinations. The Year 10s are preparing for their first set of semester examinations in week 7. The pastoral care sessions have focused on preparing students for their examinations and lessons and on developing a growth mindset, which encourages students to be everyday learners who seek growth and personal development. The focus is on finding out how they learn best, improving how they study, and using their strengths to reach higher levels of achievement. Developing a growth mindset helps the student to focus on improvement and not perfection. We encourage the girls to set goals that are realistic and achievable, with a target of between 3 to 5% improvement in each assessment. So small steps but great gains overall. In addition, lessons have focused on constructing mind maps, exam strategies, writing up revision schedules, and taking part in a workshop delivered by guest presenters Elevate on note-making and revision strategies. Students were issued with a study skills booklet last term which stepped them through how to get organised and into a study routine. Subject teachers are also currently preparing students in class by discussing their revision techniques, typical question types, and the structure and timing of the paper for their particular subject. And there'll be more of this happening in classes over the next 2 weeks as we move towards the exams. 2 key points to enable students to maximise their potential are being organised and having a consistent study routine each night. It's about getting into the habit of studying. Just like a sporting skill or learning a musical instrument, it's repetition and dedicated time that will achieve results. Secondly, something that's very important, support networks. These are essential for a student to be successful. Of course, it will be hard at times and very challenging, and some may find it stressful, but there's plenty of support available to help them through. Out of challenge comes growth and learning. We encourage students to be proactive and help themselves by taking ownership of their own learning, by being a doer and not a procrastinator, having revision notes and a study schedule, knowing and understanding how best they learn and doing more of that, working to their top strengths, seeking help when needed, and using a variety of study techniques to refine their learning and practice their written answers. They can study with a peer and discuss difficult ideas and content and ask parents and siblings for help. Maths help and chemistry help sessions are available on Wednesdays, and they can also ask their teachers for individual help at a time that suits both parties. And of course, your support is absolutely crucial. Ask them what's on your agenda for tomorrow. That's a great question. It covers the basics: assessments, co-curricular, sport, study commitments, and social events. It also opens up the whole conversation and keeps everybody connected, and there's less room for misunderstanding. Engage with them, ask them what went well for them each day, and talk with them about how they can improve or change things if it did not go well. Talk with them about possible solutions for a problem. Encourage them to have a go at working it out for themselves. They will get better with practice and enjoy the reward of confidence when they solve the problem on their own. And finally, well-being. It's about the quality of life. Well-being is when an individual realises her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses at school, and work productively and make a contribution to her school community. Well-being is most important for doing well at school and, of course, with life in general. Each student has her own unique talents, strengths and particular individual needs, but wellbeing needs to be fostered and nurtured. It's about getting the balance right between high energy activities and creating some quiet, reflective time in each day. Being rested and refreshed for students is very important for their health and wellbeing. Sleep, most important, at least 8 to 9 hours a night. The Year 10s are still growing and developing and need to rest and recover from a busy day, and they do have busy schedules. So we're hoping that a rested brain and a body will function optimally for them each day, and without screen time before bed. Okay, so phones need to be out of the bedroom and left at a charging station in the kitchen. I hear you all laughing, girls. Very serious point. Self-regulation is needed here. Take a digital break. Connect with the real world, real people, real emotions, and in real time. Sounds a bit harsh, but this is a serious point of contention for all our students. They need to have technology-free hours each day for optimal well-being. So, lastly, for that point, healthy diet, regular exercise, and quality time with family and friends will lead to greater contentment and reduced stress levels. So, the wellbeing aspects are really quite crucial. Faith, sport, co-curricular and service commitments round out the program for the girls and all are significant in developing their personality and their interests in life. And we always enjoy sharing their success and look forward to hearing updates on all their achievements both in school and out of school. In addition to the focus on exam preparation in Term 2, our PCT program focuses on resilience, relationships and respect. Our aim is to equip our students with the skills to deal with all situations and give them the capacity to solve their own problems and to seek help when needed. Confidence and a sense of achievement go hand in hand to build self-esteem and a positive mindset. This enables our students to thrive and to flourish, and that's what we want for them most of all. Parent-daughter interviews will be held on Tuesday the 5th of June. This is an opportunity for you to speak with your daughter's teachers and gauge how your daughter's tracking in her subjects and talk about her potential in that particular subject as she moves into Year 11 and 12. So for the girls, there's a lot to embrace as they move forward to make these decisions for future study. Choosing subjects they enjoy will ensure motivation will come easily, and matching this with a consistent study program will ensure that they are on their way to being successful students in Years 11 and 12. They will be very well supported by us as we step them through the process of making these important choices for Year 11. We appreciate, most importantly, that this is a partnership between the college, the students and you, the parents, and we look forward to working with you over the next 3 years. I now invite Mrs. Simone Sawiris, Deputy Principal of Teaching and Learning, to speak on the selection process for ATAR and Access Pathways. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire, and good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure tonight to take you through some of the information that will be very important for you and your daughters in the next few weeks as course selection processes occur. And I know that there's been, we've tried to time this evening so we can really overlap a little bit with some of the other things such as borders, long weekends, etc. So can I just have a show of hands of which of the boarding families who've managed to be able to make it down tonight? Have we had a few? Welcome to you especially. Thank you for coming all this way. And this will be recorded as well for boarding families to listen to if they've been unable to attend. And of course, anybody else who wants to go through it again and live this fabulous evening again, you're welcome to get on to Sector Engage in the next few days and have another listen and also watch through this PowerPoint. Now, of course, your daughters have all been part of the process already in helping to start their journey towards course selection for next year. And we've had a few events already which have helped to do this. So for those girls who are here tonight, hopefully this will all make it really gel for you and you'll be able to answer Mum and Dad's questions when you're on the drive home tonight. So Obviously, this has been a different year for our girls in Year 10. We should have noticed that the academic standards have increased, and the expectations in classroom and assessments certainly have stepped up a bit, and the girls have been very well supported to step up towards this challenge. So I'm hoping that they're feeling that they're ready for this next phase of the journey. Certainly the study expectations have increased as well, so we're expecting, and if this isn't happening already, we might need to have a conversation about that too on the way home, about 2 to 2.5 hours of study on 5 days of the week. So making sure that there's a good mix of homework and revision going on, and certainly as we head into the next few weeks with exams around the corner, we'd hope that there's certainly that 2.5 hours occurring. As my slide says there, the examination experience is just around the corner as well, and the girls will be working towards those. And that's another new experience for the girls in Year 10, that they have a bit of a practice at exam technique, and they start to learn what are the ways that work for me as I head into exams, preparing and having a long-term goal over a whole semester. And then being able to prepare in a way that's going to really suit their learning style and also get them the results. And then if the results aren't there, of course, they've got time to look at how they've gone and perhaps adjust their techniques for study and also the way they approach their exams. So this year, as Mrs. Newton mentioned, goal setting is going to be of real importance, and certainly as the girls are looking now at their prerequisites for different courses for next year, they'll be really starting to go, okay, this is where I want to head, so these are my goals for the next 3 weeks, the next 6 weeks, the next semester, and for the rest of the year. Certainly the focus is on academics, but also balance and taking it, I suppose, not too seriously at times. We want the girls to be focused on their studies, but also we need to look after, the mental health, the well-being, and also to make sure that we're, I suppose, that girls are being having opportunities to do all their co-curricular and their sport and all the things that really keep them healthy and in the best place for learning as well. There's been some study planning opportunities through PCT times. There've been, Mrs. Newton's emailed the girls some schedules and planners, different forms which might work in different ways as the exam periods, study sessions take place, and talking about specific revision strategies. I know that the teachers in classes are often talking about these, and there's been lots of different ways that girls can study. The 4 steps of effective revision, regardless of what you're doing to make that study program come together, really are focused on at initial stages, and this is where girls should be at the moment and have been for quite some time, in that note-taking stage where they're really consolidating all the information and content they might need to have success in their assessment or what they need to know for their coursework, and then transferring that into another form that might help them understand and help them communicate perhaps in a different way. So it could be mind maps or diagrams, flowcharts, depending on what sort of assessment they're doing and what sort of course they're doing, and then using questions that are provided by the teachers, either in past papers or perhaps through their textbooks, etc., and online resources, to start to test their understandings and then to come back and follow up those questions that they're answering by looking at their marking keys and also talking to their teachers if there's any areas that they have some gaps in or need a bit more assistance to fully understand. So it's really important that our girls are stepping beyond just writing notes, where they may have been quite capable of getting good marks in years 7, 8 and 9 by really just writing notes, reading through their notes and then recalling those in assessments. We're stretching the girls now, so we really need to push them through to go beyond their notes. So if you find that your daughter's spending a lot of time writing notes and rewriting notes and rewriting notes at home, it would be great if you can have a conversation with her about some other ways to really get your daughter to start doing something else rather than just writing notes. So there's lots and lots of options out there, and I'm sure your daughters would know what they are. It would be great if you can give them a little push in that general direction. Okay, so let's start talking about our careers and course information. As you would recall, the girls all attended the Perth Convention Centre on the 18th of May for the Careers Expo, and then had a follow-up session in their PCT period that day, where they really reflected on what they found out, what perhaps took their interest, and perhaps some ongoing things they needed to do to then look further into particular careers that might have been of interest to them. We had our course information day on the 21st of May, which gave them a lot of information about the course selection process and the ATAR and access pathways as well. There is an upcoming session on the 27th of June, which Mrs Hughes will run in the Careers Centre, and it's after school from 3:30. We'd really like to see anybody who thinks that their daughter may be interested in taking the access pathway, or perhaps is still a little bit unsure about whether access or ATAR is the right option, to come along to that in the afternoon. It's going to be a great quick Q&A session where if you've got some questions that you want to ask in a smaller group, then that would be an ideal opportunity. And of course, in Term 3, we'll be starting our course counselling process, which will give your daughters, and you're very welcome to attend as well, of course, the opportunity to talk to a course counsellor who will guide them through, where they're up to, what might be good options for their courses for next year. By that stage, they would have already put in some preferences online over the holiday break, and then we can start looking at what the best options might be. And if there's any areas that they're still unsure about, we can help them work through that process. So it's definitely an opportunity for you as parents to be part of that conversation, and we'd really love to see as many parents there as possible. So Louise Pilling will be sending out an email in the next couple of days on my behalf, just inviting you to a particular time slot to come along and be part of that one-on-one counselling. And if you are a boarding parent, we're going to make the first day back of next term, 16th of July, your priority day to come along to those interviews if you like, so that as you drop your daughters off, you can come up, have that interview with us at that time, and hopefully you'll be able to ask any questions at that time. Okay, so the pathways. This is always the big question, and I know that it can be quite daunting. Things have changed, and even if you've had a daughter through maybe 5 or 6 years ago, through the ATAR or access process, things do change. SCARs have changed, the curriculum and expectations and standards do change as we go along. So this is hopefully going to give you enough information that you can then go away and start unpacking the additional material that we'll be sending home in the next few days. So the two pathways that we offer are ATAR and access. So the first process generally is for the girls to choose which pathway they're looking at for their Year 11 and 12. They need to choose 6 courses for Year 11 and 12. First of all for Year 11, of course for next year things can change by Year 12. And so all students are expected to do 6 courses in Year 11. They must all study religion and life. Now we have religion, life, general and also ATAR. So your daughters can choose from one of those two. Obviously as a Catholic school, it is a requirement that all girls do study religion and life. And as you'll know, our girls at Santa Maria perform very, very well in religion and life each year. So we're very proud of the record that we have in our RE team of really supporting our girls and getting some fantastic results in that learning area. They must also study English or literature. So they can study ATAR English or general English, or they can study ATAR literature. So that is a requirement for their literacy. They must also study a List B course, and List B, for those people who may not be aware, are more than maths and science kind of courses. So let's have a look at what the differences are between these two different pathways. In our ATAR courses, the girls are basically working towards a result which will be their TER, Tertiary Entrance Ranking, which is based on their top 4 scores. Whereas in our access pathway, at the end of their course, they gain individual grades for each one of their courses in Year 11 and 12. The ATAR pathway is probably more content-based in terms of what is learnt and the skills that they are going to need is more about how they use content and analyse content, whereas the access pathway has more of a practical focus. The external assessments for ATAR students are the external exams which happen at the end of Year 12, the WACE exams. And the ATAR is only based on the Year 12 course and the Year 12 exams, so there's no Year 11 exam component for their ATAR. The access students will have an externally set task for each of their general courses in Year 12. So they do have an external assessment, but it's just sat in their class or their course group, so it's not at the end of the year, it's in May, So our girls have just completed their ESTs in Year 12. So there is, some external, I suppose, comparability on the marking across all of the schools in WA for general courses. At the end of the ATAR pathway, girls may look towards direct university entrance should they have met the ATAR requirement for and the TER ranking for the course that they're hoping to enter and to study at university. For access students, their options are TAFE entry, getting a job in industry, and possibly alternative entry to university. We do have a fantastic track record of girls who do go on from their access pathway to enter different pathways at university through doing a bridging course in the year that they leave Santa Maria. As I mentioned before, our List A and List B courses are the same for access and ATAR pathways. So our List A's are there listed on the left, and all students, as it's shown in yellow there, must study English and Religion and Life. Our List B courses, as I said, are more than maths and sciences. Mathematics is highlighted there as a very strong recommendation for our girls to choose. So while it is not compulsory for girls to study mathematics in Year 11 and 12, it's really beneficial because the skills that they gain from mathematics are very transferable, and regardless of what course they might go on to, whether at uni or TAFE, it's very likely that they're going to need math skills to do that. And if they're doing an access pathway rather, then Essentials Maths gives them some fantastic skills that they will use every day. So we really do strongly recommend that our girls do study in maths if possible. So here's some examples of some different ATAR combinations. As you'll see there, Religion and Life and one form of ATAR English, either English or literature, are compulsory. Some girls will look at something like example 3 there, which is doing 5 ATAR courses and 1 general course. Often they'll choose a general course that they're really, really passionate about. Could be general maths, general music as well. That's one that the girls really enjoy if they've got a heavy ATAR load. Doing general music can really give them some other way of, I suppose, having a lesson that they really enjoy and they do something that they love. So often our girls will pick up that 6th general course just to give them something else. However, they do need to be aware that if they do choose a general course as part of an ATAR pathway, it can be a little limiting when they get to Year 12. But if girls want to choose something that is a general course, as long as they're doing their 5 other ATARs, that is quite fine. So that will be on the slides if you want to have a look at that later on, but it really is up to the girls to choose the courses that they think are going to, first of all, provide them the opportunities that they're looking for their future courses perhaps, and also that they're going to be a good combination to give them the best chance of success when they finish up with us. For those that don't know what an ATAR is, it's there's lots of acronyms, SCASA, WACE, in a minute I'll be talking about the WASA. This is the Australian Tertiary Admissions Rank, so the ATAR score, and that's based on 50% of the school assessment marks and 50% of the WACE exam mark. So from Year 12 only, so not Year 11 and 12, just Year 12. And so what that does is it takes the work that they do in our school environment, 50% of that, and the work that they do for their WACE exams, their final scores in their WACE exams, and they look at those. And I know that people often want to have that conversation about scaling. Does it get scaled up? Does it get scaled down? Really, scaling is not an issue when schools are marking in accordance with the standards that SCARS are set. The reason why schools may get scaled or grades might get scaled may be because of how the girls perform in their WACE compared to their school results. So the scaling process is really just to make sure there's comparability between the school results and the WACE performance, so that schools aren't marking too easy or too hard, and that the WACE exam results are pretty close to what they're getting as their school results. So 50% school and 50% WACE exams is how the score for their ATAR is calculated. So that's based on their top 4 subjects only. So of course, if a girl's got 5 or 6 ATAR courses, then she's got better opportunity to just choose her top 4, and then the others, depending on how she performs, may not be, well, they won't be counted. So the more options she has, then she's not relying on 4 or 5 courses to select her ATAR. That tertiary admissions ranking is based on the score out of the 400 marks for the top 4 courses, and it's scaled or worked out to a ranking between 0 and 99.5. So 99.5 is the top ATAR that you can get. The table you see there to the right just compares the average scores on the far right column that a student might be getting for all of their courses compared to their TEA and then finally to the ATAR, so actually working right to left. So if they're getting average scores of around 66%, then their predicted ATAR will be 85. If they're working around 75% is their average for their top 4 courses, they can expect an ATAR of around 95. And of course, if they're at 85 as their average for their 4 courses, they'd be getting an ATAR around 98. So it just shows you how that progresses up. As the marks increase, the expected or predicted ATAR will also increase. So, many people say, well, why would I choose Access over ATAR? What are the benefits? And I suppose it's all about what students can achieve and the experiences they get as a result of doing these courses. In the Access pathway, the girls get to do 3 different work placements, or they could be 3 work placements in the same field. So over their 2-year 11 and 12 period, they get, during the exam time, they get to go out into the workplace and have workplace learning blocks. This is fantastic for girls to test the waters and find out, if they've always thought they wanted to be a florist, and they go out and they do a work placement at a florist, and they find I'm allergic to flowers or whatever they might find, it's not for them, then they get an opportunity to try something else. Or they go out and they think, I want to really be a vet nurse, and they go into the vet nursing practice and they absolutely love it. They've got 2 more opportunities to go out and do something different in case they want to just see what else is out there, or they can do more vet nursing placements and really, really find that that's their passion. So the 3 work placements are one of the great advantages of the Access pathway. They'll also get the opportunity to do vet certificates, so the Cert 2s, the Cert 3s, that will give them a fantastic grounding if they want to then go on to TAFE, and also it's a fantastic way to then also reach their graduation requirements. So all of these opportunities that the girls take up and that they complete gives them more points towards, I suppose, their graduation, and also more puts them in a better position if they do want to apply for Access to go to university on a different pathway. There's also the opportunities that could lead into apprenticeships, and some of our girls have indeed done apprenticeships following their Access pathways and their vet certificates, and they've really found they're in a great position then to negotiate a really fantastic placement for their apprenticeship training. And certainly a stepping stone for employment. So many of our girls who do go into work placements will find that they get offered a part-time job either in the school holidays or perhaps even ongoing after they leave school. So some girls do actually go straight into the workplace from the Access pathway because they've got a fantastic record. They're well known to perhaps certain workplaces, and they want to snap the girls up before they get a chance to get on the job market. And as I mentioned earlier, advanced standing for TAFE is definitely one of the great benefits. So if you've got a daughter who really loves a particular area of a trade, or would really like to go into something that is not necessarily a university pathway, then this is a fantastic opportunity for her. And entry to university through one of the foundation courses, which you may have heard described as a bridging course as well. And there's another plug for the Access Q&A. Marianne, got that in there for you. On the 27th of June, after school from 3:30 to 4:30, and you're very welcome to attend. Some of our possible Access combinations, and many of our students do these combinations, because Career and Enterprise General is one of the compulsory units they must do. So Religion and Life General, English Essentials, or General English as we call it, Career and Enterprise, and then they choose their other 3. And some of these courses also have certificates based within them. So for example, Design has a Cert 2, I think, is it, for next year? Cert 3? Cert 3 design next year, which is a fantastic opportunity for girls who love their art and love, being creative. So that's fantastic. And of course we have our other opportunities there that certainly give our girls some really good ways to follow a lot of their passions, which will really be their career one day. And for those people who don't know what materials design and technology is, it's actually our textiles course. So we run that through our home ec department. So girls who love textiles and love, their fashion and things that they're doing perhaps in year 10 at the moment, this is a great opportunity for them. And we offer this ATAR as well as general as well. So that's very interesting. So we're doing some really interesting combinations at the moment, trying to give our girls many, many different opportunities to find whatever their pathway might be. Some of the certificate courses that we have that we have been able to offer, and it really does depend on your daughter's passion and what she's interested in, are aged care, animal care, floristry, you'll see hospitality. There's so many different opportunities there. Childcare is one that we have many girls participate in, and teacher assistant as well. So many of our girls have just been out on workplace learning. So the Access girls during the year 11 and 12 exam period have been in schools, have been working with young kids and really finding that that's their area of passion too. But it really is just up to whatever the girls find is their area of interest. And Marianne and her team will do their best to find them a great certificate course to pursue. Now, regarding our maths courses, some of the names might have changed since you were last looking at maths courses. So our specialist course is our top maths course that girls would often go into from course 1.1. So if your daughter's in 1.1 and achieves an A grade, then specialist maths may be for her. We also have our ATAR methods course, which is offered, so maths methods, offered to course 1.1 and 1.2 students if they're receiving an A or a B grade, and then of course maths applications for course 1.1, 1.2 and course 2 students, depending on their prerequisite grades. And then our general courses offered for maths essentials. If your daughter is in course 2 and course 3, those are some of the options for her for maths. And those pathways are all explained in the Learn booklet, which you may have already seen for your daughters, or if not, I'll be talking about that very shortly. So this is all going to be available for you to have another look at shortly. The endorsed units. Now, endorsed units are one of those things that are available to ATAR and Access students that gives them a bit of a boost in terms of their graduation. So these are programs that run beyond our school curriculum but count towards the West Australian Statement of Student Achievement, or the WASA. So some girls may be participating in some workplace learning. They may be heavily involved in community service, even part-time work. They're doing things like Duke of Edinburgh, surf lifesaving, mock trials. If they're in the college production, all of these things and more that you daughters would be able to come and talk to somebody in the careers team about. Can I use this as as an endorsed unit? If your daughters are involved in any of these things, they can actually get credit towards their student achievement statement, which comes at the end of year 12. So if they're doing, competing at national levels for a particular sport or something like that, then it's always worth having a chat about those opportunities as well. There are requirements for your daughters to, keep a logbook and records, etc., of her participation. But there's many other opportunities that our girls will take up sometimes, as it gives them credit towards their WACE graduation. Which, here we are. What's required to actually graduate at the end of year 12? And this is for all students, Access and ATAR. They must have met numeracy and literacy competency. So reading, writing and numeracy standards in year 9, for example, NAPLAN Band 8, or year 10 OLNA Category 3. However, year 10 OLNA, if students haven't met Category 3 in year 10, they do get the opportunity to continue to complete the OLNA, the online testing, in years 11 and 12 to give them several opportunities to reach that standard. And for those people who are interested, OLNA letters are in the mail. So I'd probably get that question tonight, so everyone can hear that. So that is coming out to you soon if your daughter sat the OLNA recently. And as I said, as long as we know that your daughters have the opportunities to sit the older again in year 10 again in September, and then year 11 and 12 again, then there's no concern at year 10 if your daughter hasn't yet met category 3. They must also complete 20 units over 2 years. Now, a unit is 1 semester of work in year 11 or year 12. So obviously in year 11, if they do maths methods for a whole year, they've done 2 units. So 2 units per year, so 1 per semester. So 20 sounds like a lot. It's actually 10 year-long courses, which is usually not too much trouble to get. So if our girls are studying 6 courses in year 11, they're automatically covering 12 units. And in year 12, if they do only do 5 courses in year 12, then they're automatically getting that 10 units. So it's quite achievable for those 20 units to be achieved. As I said before, for ATAR, they need to complete 4 or more ATAR courses to get an ATAR rank, and in Access, they need to complete Certificate 2 or higher for their graduation. They also need to complete 4 English units and study List A and List B course, and achieve 14 C grades over that 20 that they complete. And at least 6 of those need to be in year 12. It sounds very complicated. Sometimes it is. But you'll be happy to know that our deans of year and myself and Mrs. Hughes are always tracking how our students are going, and we're always looking at how things are travelling towards graduation. So we'll always be very aware if any students are at risk of graduation. So we are putting things in place right from year 11, semester 1. So there's lots of things to think about, but we'll have it covered. And finally, of course, for Santa Maria, service learning is a big focus for graduation as well, and that also appears on their West Australian Statement of Student Achievement. So that is also an accredited thing. Oh, here's a picture of a Hossa. You can't read anything on it, but it's pretty in purple. So lots and lots of information there, as you can see. And basically, it's a record of everything that the girls do in year 11 and 12, including service learning, endorsed programs, certificates, everything there. So, nearly finished. As far as course combinations go, we often get these questions because I know in the past there's been certain combinations, for example, biology and human biology, that you wouldn't be able to choose if you were doing ATAR. Things have changed a little bit since 2018. For example, human biology and biology are allowed. What is not permitted, however, is to do ATAR maths methods and maths applications. Okay, so one of those only. And also English and English literature. So you can't do both of those English courses, it's one or the other. The good news is, though, there is a 10% bonus for each of these courses towards the ATAR. So, obviously, we've decided we really want to encourage our students to do ATAR languages, and maths specialist and maths methods. So if your daughter chooses ATAR languages and maths specialist, ATAR language and math methods, she can get a 10% bonus on each of those scores that she achieves. So, for example, if she gets 65% in her final score, then they'll add 6.5 marks to that total score out of 400. So it's a good way to pick up some extra marks, and it's a great incentive for girls to work hard because they know they're going to get that 10% bonus. So if your daughter is in a position to be able to choose those courses, it's a great thing to get onto. So I would recommend that. Okay, so for each of the courses that are offered in Year 11, there are a set of prerequisite grades. These are all listed in the Learn booklet, and you will probably be able to speak to the Hollers and some of the other staff here tonight who will also have information on the prerequisite grades for you. These prerequisites are really because we believe that our Year 10 courses give a strong foundation for Year 11 courses. So if your daughter isn't succeeding in Year 10, whatever it might be, English, biology, chemistry, then it's very unlikely that she'll find Year 11 a success. So we really want to set the girls up for success. We want to make sure that they're fully aware that the step into Year 11 is going to be a little bit higher than what they're doing already. So they really need to be achieving at a certain standard to be successful in Year 11. So those prerequisite grades are important. If she's not achieving that prerequisite grade, it doesn't mean she's excluded from the course. what it would mean is that we need to track how she goes towards the end of the year and for the rest of the year in the course that she's looking to for Year 11, so that she's got an opportunity to improve and meet that prerequisite by the end of the year. Of course, if your daughter has has met the prerequisites, then she'll be able to choose that subject for next year, but she will continue to be tracked to make sure that doesn't drop down below the prerequisite grade by the end of the year. When the Year 10 reports are released at the end of the term, there will be a course recommendation form that will come to you as well, and that will show all of the different courses that she is recommended for or has met the prerequisites for. So it'll be very clear from there that these are the courses that she's met prerequisites for, and these are the ones that we recommend for her to complete in Year 11, and which ones we're not confident that she will be able to complete successfully. So please do have a good look at that when you're having the discussions with your daughters around what their subject selection might be for next year. When we have the course counselling in Term 3, we'll also be looking at that, and your daughter might be wanting to choose a course that she's not met prerequisites for. We'll have a conversation with the counsellor and yourself and your daughter to say, okay, well, what do you need to do differently? What do you need to do next to get you up to that prerequisite grade so that you can choose it for next year? Or it might be, okay, that's probably not going to be a great idea. Let's look at some other options. So, past students' advice, words of wisdom from some girls that I think are really important. Choose subjects that you really enjoy, girls. This is how you're going to make your journey very much easier and more enjoyable, and certainly you'll find it easier to study courses that you like. Be realistic about your strengths. Step out of your comfort zone. Don't always stay in the safe zone. It's okay to push yourself. Talk to some current Year 11 students if you're unsure about courses and pathways. Give 110% from day one. Keep things in perspective and keep up your co-curricular. Really important to have that balance. As I mentioned earlier, the Learn Course Information Handbook, the girls all should have a digital copy of that. It's a PDF, and there's lots and lots of information. As you can see on the right-hand side of the slide, there's a page or more on each course that is offered, ATAR and Access. There's also a lot of information at the beginning that runs through the information I'm talking through tonight, and you'll see that there's videos that you can watch to explain what the course is all about, and heaps of information and links to other further sources. University admission booklet as well will get circulated, the link to the girls. They can go on there and have a look at what the requirements are for university admissions. So if there's a particular course she's thinking of doing when she leaves and wants to go into university, what are the prerequisite courses she should be doing in Year 11 and 12 to get her into those courses. Subject teachers are certainly full of lots of information. Our interviews next Tuesday are a great opportunity to have a chat with those teachers, Year 10 course counsellors, and obviously, as we said earlier today, Mrs Hughes, Mr Kay, Mrs Newton, myself and Miss Martin as well. So there's lots of people who've got lots of information to share, and also the people you'll see around the room tonight. Source of information continued, careers blog. I'm hoping that you've seen some of those. There's some great links in there. Mrs Hughes has put some really fantastic info on open days for universities, and also to the SCASA website for you to have a look at what's going on there with courses and syllabi for next year. University open days, dates are there so you can have a look at which particular university. I'm sure you'll see some great displays from some of those universities today around the room. The course selection timeline, again, that is going to be partly in Term 2, so we're working towards those course counselling meetings in, Term 3, and then confirmation of courses in Term 4. Parents, what would we like from you? I suppose what we'd all like to know is that our girls, every one of them is unique, and that they're going to have their own strengths. They're going to have some areas that they're going to struggle with. Let's focus on those strengths and really push them into those areas. Talk about their goals and what their career ideas might be. Assist them with finding information. If there's anything that you've heard tonight, think, oh, that's something we need to look at. Encourage her to do so. Listen to your girls and support your daughter's study program as much as you can. So any of those ideas you've heard tonight, hopefully that might give you a little bit of something to have a conversation around with her. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through these because everybody's dying to get it and have a little look. All the courses are on display around the room tonight. Lots of course information available to you, but of course conversations don't finish tonight. You'll be able to ask about the difference between different courses, what the grade prerequisites might be, what combinations would be good, and the careers and prerequisites, perhaps for further study from the universities that we have here tonight as well. I know that there is a lot to understand and process tonight, especially if this is your first foray into the WACE and ATAR and access information, but you can certainly go back to all of this through the Learn booklet and through this presentation, which will be available on Sector Engage in the next couple of days. So good luck on the journey. Remember, we're working together with you. We really hope that we'll have a very successful process in the next few months and very much a successful couple of years ahead. We're always here to help. And what we think might be a great plan today may turn out to not be such a great plan tomorrow. We're more than happy to work with you to help get the best pathways for your daughters. So thank you very much for your attendance and attention tonight, and good luck in the next few months. Thank you.